I remember one time in sophomore year English, it was the first book that we had to read, Fahrenheit 451. I didn't read it. I didn't read the vast majority of books that I was told to read throughout high school. I honestly don't remember which ones I did read. One of them was Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. And to be honest, I read that mostly because my teacher told me that it was focused on a lot of young male-themed, it had a lot of young male themes in it. And so obviously that appealed to me, including some things that were like pretty taboo, right, that you weren't supposed to talk about doing, but everybody does, especially in the beginning of high school when you hit puberty and you're just being flooded with hormones. So I read that one. I might have read like a few others, but I really, really did not do the vast majority of required reading throughout my entire time in school, from kindergarten up until end of high school. I felt like high school really, really ruined reading for me. Right? Because like there were some books that were actually even interesting to read. One of them would have been Fahrenheit 451. That seems like a pretty cool book. I still have not read it to this day. But I've always been good at BSing on tests, like reading knowledge checks, of giving vague enough answers that I don't get any details too wrong, but getting a couple specific things that I found on Wikipedia or whatnot, getting those things right so the teacher can't outright deny that I have read it, right? I remember filling out one of these, doing my best to meticulously walk that tightrope on this knowledge check that we were having for Fahrenheit 451. It was the very first knowledge check, and I look over at the girl next to me, who was this big outcast. I wonder what she's doing these days. She always had something about her that I liked, but she was also very, very unfriendly. But it was like it was kind of a funny unfriendly and sort of a cry for help unfriendly. Maybe that's too big of an expression. But she just like, there was something about her that was just, I saw somebody in her that said like, please accept me while I do all these things to keep you from accepting me. I look on her paper, and under the answers, for all of her answers, she just wrote, I did not read the book. 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 Like, she didn't make any attempt to even just, to pull something out of the air. She just was straight, forthright with it. I just didn't read it. And I sometimes wonder if that would have been the more ethical thing for me to do. I mean, it probably was. I think in general it is the better thing to tell the truth. But beyond any sort of ethics or anything, I just think, I wish I just had that boldness, especially with teachers. The only reason why I wasn't that forthright with teachers was because teachers just scared the crap out of me throughout most of my days. I mean, people in authority positions still scare the crap out of me. Even the nice ones, I'm still worried about saying one word the wrong way or pushing your limits just a little bit too far. So, I mean, it got me some good grades, but I feel like also, what did I sacrifice by not just straight saying, hey, I didn't read this book? Also, what could I have given some kind of, could we have had some kind of conversation where I was honest, okay, well, why didn't you read the book? Because I think that forcing me to read a book, even a good one, really ruins what we appreciate about reading, which is that we get to read it on our own time and we get to choose what we read and we don't have to just pick whatever you tell us. Okay. Is there any sort of happy medium that we can find, right, where I can get you to appreciate this book or tell you why I think this book might be valuable to you? Not that every teacher would be willing to have that conversation with me, but if I even started that conversation, could I have gotten some newfound appreciation even for required reading? And then for personal reading, that's the thing. I didn't read for fun until pretty late in life because school just messed it up. Forcing me to read made me not want to do it. It's a stupid, rebellious thing. I almost wish I had read all those books, but I also don't. I mean, there is some Crime and Punishment. I'm sorry. If I end up liking Crime and Punishment one day, like reading it and enjoying it someday, I'll feel very, very silly. But I got 5 pages into that, and I'm like, it is just not worth it. It is just not worth it for me to continue this book. Sure, there's valuable insight into the human condition in this book, and I'm just simply not going to receive that because it's not presented in a way that resonates with me. We have our own freedom of taste, and I don't see why reading should be any different from that. Yeah. I really want to get back into reading, like fiction. I went through a phase of like self-help and nonfiction because I thought that it was making me cool and a better person. But I really, really want to get back into just reading some fiction books that I remember enjoying.